Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in. Let's just go ahead and wrap this day up. Went by pretty fast. Kind of an eventful day. Started off this morning, Comcast. Lost our service here at the office due to an outage. You can see obviously Comcast was punished today, down to 1.5% off of that move. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't want any negative things coming from Comcast. Fabulous company. All right, let's check our positions. We got Bank of America, and it's just been flat all day. Down 5 cents, down 8 cents. Right now it's down 9 cents. It's just flat. It's holding 17. Not that that's a magical number, but it's holding 17. In my opinion, well, it's outperforming the other banks. I mean, you look at the other ones that have announced earnings, and this is outperforming them fairly well. So no need to worry. This is a longer term position. As Jeff mentioned this morning, what we're trying to do, what Jeff likes to do, is get a longer term position and then use the other half of the money, which we're doing right now in an FCX, a shorter term type of a position. Okay. And yeah, the money is all used, so there's going to be no new trades today. Our money's in use. We've got it all out there right now in those two trades. And looking at FCX, FCX is positive. It's turned to run positive on us. It was down most of the day, not much, very slightly down. And on a pattern like this is nothing. At a price movement like this, we've got an uptrend here. This is bullish moves. Up, sells off, and goes back up. Overall, this is bullish price action. Okay. All right, so that's our two positions today. Not a very eventful day on either one, but it's nothing bearish at all. It's still a lot of confidence in both of those positions. Okay. So some of the other stocks. If you guys want to look at some stocks, go ahead and type those in there. And yeah, someone's mentioning Gilead. They're off my screen. I would mention your name. Yeah. Very nice breakout. Trend rider jumping to the upper Bollinger Band here today. Big time volume. Likely some news out on Gilead. It's made a very strong push. Some stocks of note. Thanks, SPM. I'll get to that. Some stocks of note. And now, got a housing number coming out tomorrow. Check out some signals. Look at Pulte Group. These are some home builders. And if I bring in the Vibe, it's not there. When I looked at this half an hour ago, I've been, again, I tell you, I've been looking at hundreds of stocks. It was pushing up through the 7. Watch this one. Keep an eye on it. A lot of the home builders are being bought up this afternoon. But watch, we got a flag pattern. If you measure this, I'll give it from 19. So you got from where it broke out, I'll say 19, to the top here, to where it started selling off. It's 20 and a half, so it's $1.50. So a move above of this would put it up to around the 21.50 area. But watch that. A home report, a decent number out tomorrow, it just might get that. They've been doing fairly well here recently. So that one, and then you got another one, D.R. Horton. These guys, I've been in the construction world myself back before I got into trading, and when I was day trading, stuff like that, had companies, and yeah, it was always the local builders. And then it didn't take long before the valley started booming here, where he brought the big dogs in, the D.R. Hortons, and a bunch of these came in here. I'm getting sidetracked. But another fairly bullish price action. Not a bull, a Vibe or a trend rider. You can see the 200-day moving average right here is down. Shorter term, 50, intermediate term rather, 50 and 100, they're both headed back up. But the confirmation right here would come on a move really over 22. is what you're after, and that might do it tomorrow. This is very bullish price action. If you look at the days when it's dropped below that 21.5, see all those wicks down below? Bam, 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 and then by the end of the day, it's always bought back up above that level. It's a pretty good sign that that's a strong support level. It closes towards the highs, but more confirmation would come if you get a move up like this. Really, a beautiful candle would be if it have it sell off tomorrow, get below the 7 and turn and run over the 22 level by the end of the day. It'd be a strong signal there. So watch those going into tomorrow and see if we happen to get anything. The other one was Lennar. Very, very similar to what we just looked at. You know, a little bit of a pattern, a flag pattern here, holding the 38 level. To me, a strong push up off this level would be what I'm after. It got one over in this range, but I'd want a stronger push up. This is a bullish candle, one of the most bullish candles we've seen since it's come down, since it's ran way below and running positive going up towards the 7, but a break above the 38.5, pushing off of the 7-day moving average at that range, suggesting higher lows locked in here. It's likely to go up probably over 40. I'd watch it around 40 though if I happen to get in a trade on that. Keep an eye on it. Hey, Hewlett Packard. Yeah, Hewlett Packard this morning. Well, they got an upgrade to a buy by our friends there at Bank of America, and no ties with Bank of America, obviously. Gap and higher. Now this is it's a doji pattern. It's not necessarily bearish. What it's all it's just saying is just an area of indecision is what that represents. It's a battle between the bulls and the bears. The bears trying to take it down, bulls trying to take it higher. Overall, it ends about right where it started today. It broke out of past resistance at 28.5. It's just consolidating up in the range. Watch it. If it comes down here towards 29 and that holds, man, it'd be a great signal. It might just keep running tomorrow. Let me bring in the trend rider. Now, it's still in that upper band. You could expect a little bit of weakness, but overall, nothing bearish here. As far as earnings on Hewlett Packard, let me just go run and check. I know they were a little ways off. The 17th, so they got another month on Hewlett Packard. Thanks, SPM. Yes, Richard. Yes, that'd be nice to have. All right, so General Electric. Now they're coming up. Let me go check. This is an important one, an important earnings announcement. The 17th. Well, so they're tomorrow. That's tomorrow morning. This is going to be an important announcement to read. It's geez, what area of the market are they not in? I mean, you look at these guys. You go to buy a washer and dryer, well, they're there. You go to buy a jet engine, they're there. I mean, you name it, General Electric is there. It's amazing. It's going to be a pretty important report. It wouldn't hurt to read over that and see where it goes. So really, it's not going to technicals aren't going to show us anything. This is going to be a fundamental move come tomorrow morning. Last time they announced, you can look back here to October. Last time they announced, yeah, a pretty favorable announcement. July, another favorable announcement. So 2 in a row. Does that mean this one's going to be gapping up here towards 30? Who knows? It's not the past isn't always a guarantee of future here, but so far they've done really well the last couple of quarters anyway, and beat their numbers. So yeah, it's not going to be a technical move. It's going to be all fundamentals come tomorrow morning. Best Buy, that's about right where it was. I looked at it a little bit earlier, maybe down a little bit more. Overall, that red hollow candlestick that you see there, what happens here, it gaps down. It's a hollow candlestick, so the current price is always at the top of the body. So what happens, it gaps down, runs up for the day, but still obviously lower than where it closed the night before. That's a red hollow. After a move like this, I wouldn't touch it. It's gonna options would be very expensive today. And not only that, if you happen to buy in now, even if it started going your direction, the applied volatility is going to come crashing down, and there goes your option value. It'd just be a way too tough. You got to let this thing settle down. I'd give it like a week. Look for higher highs to come in. There's no way I'd go short in here. You just don't know. I mean, it's just way too volatile in here. And I do hope that somebody had puts on that thing. It seems like Steve did. I did it again. LNKD. Yeah, LinkedIn. Nice. Very nice push. Strong off the 7. If you're not in this, then you got to let it consolidate, let that 7 catch up with it. But if you got into it, congratulations. Had a nice gain today. And on a day like this, volatility might have dropped off a little bit since this morning, but it's probably a little bit high. It wouldn't hurt to take some off and see where the rest takes you. But yeah, very nice trade hound. And by the way, that explanation points there, you're probably in it. Boeing is still, just where it was. It's just not showing the strength. A big, strong push here off of 140 over that 7-day moving average is what to be after here. It's just not there. Last few days, it's not there yet. So the FCX, a butterfly. I don't trade a lot of spreads. In the past, I've done some debits and credits, but I couldn't argue it. I mean, this chart looks bullish. It looks like it's going to run here. We got higher highs, higher lows coming in here. Odds are this is going to run higher for us. I couldn't argue anything like that. JM. Nice, Steve. Very nice. Intel. Don't have my notes, but it got a very nice upgrade. I think it was on Tuesday. But a nice upgrade on Intel. It rocketed higher, and really just the price action in here runs up. Now it gets a long ways away from the 7. Look where that 7 is, way down here. And today, just pulling back. And so this is what I always say. If you didn't get into it over here, now you're waiting for it to consolidate. Let that 7 catch back up with it. And if that 7 happens to keep running like this, I'll just draw it in here. Say the 7 keeps coming like this, and then your candles just kind of go sideways a little bit for a day or two, maybe slightly down. And then you get a day like this where it's maybe even goes below the 7 and starts ramping back up like that. Now you got a signal here saying this thing's ready to move up, to push that next leg higher. You got to be patient and wait for that. That's where your best odds are. It's got a nice uptrend intact, so the odds are saying it's likely to go higher, but you can time your entrances a little bit better by waiting for some price action like that. Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Intel earnings tonight, so it's going to blow these technicals off anyways, most likely. But sometimes if you wait for something like that, it just keeps running higher and stays above the 7. It doesn't let you get in, but if you want to put the most odds in your favor, you got to wait for those. Okay, but thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, if they're announcing earnings tonight, then no technicals are going to say what this thing's going to do. With General Electric, how long are they going to be meaningful again? We're going to watch and see the reaction, right? But typically, I'll give stocks. Let's look back over here. Now, this thing, it just kept running. The earnings announcement, man, it's a tough call because it ran the day before. What I'm looking at here, you can see it run the day before, and then the next day it runs, and then the next day it runs. 3 days in a row it ran. But even if it's that first day, let's say earnings was right here. Most likely it's the day right here because you see all that volume stacked behind it right there. That's likely the earnings came out the day prior, at the bell. Before the bell. After the bell or before the bell here on whatever that is, the 20th or something like that. Okay, you got to let it settle down. And so this is what happens. Typical price action is, and it works the same on the downside as well, it runs. It gets a long ways away from the 7. It just goes. You let it go if you're not in it. Then you watch for some consolidation. Let it get back towards the 7. And you notice how many days did that take? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 days. That's the type of entrance you're looking to get back in. After it kind of calms down a little bit, that might take a few days, that might take a week or more. Calms down a little bit, you notice the 7 caught up with it, it went below the 7, turned and ran positive towards the end of the day. There's your entrance if you want to play it higher. It got all the bugs worked out of it after the earnings announcement. It's holding the higher levels. Now it's set, it's ready to move up. That's the type of entrance you're looking for. Now look at it over here. Okay, huge gap up, comes back to the 7. This time it slips below the 7. Okay, now just to be fair, not a bad looking breakout right there. I mean, at the time of that day right there, remember, you saw nothing to the right. Okay, nothing you saw to the right there. And it closed below the 7 the very next day, but a firm close below it over here. All right, so this just goes to show the technicals aren't right 100% of the time. There are those times, obviously, where they're going to turn against you, but not a bad looking signal. Yeah, no, I'm just, that would not have been a bad signal right there, as that 7 it pushed back up like that. So not going to be right all the time. Again, what it does, those signals, is just put odds in our favor that it's likely to move that direction. Ah, Steve, you're making me laugh. I've done that too. And sometimes they got my way, and other times they don't do anything, and sometimes they really go against me buying the wrong stock. I think, been in the market long enough, you're going to make a typo, and it's going to happen. But yeah, congratulations, man. Yeah, Morgan Stanley earnings tomorrow. Is it going to be likely any type of big surprise? We've seen all the earnings announcements come out. Overall, they haven't been that bad. The bigger miss was Citi. Really, Goldman Sachs, they didn't blow their numbers out like a Bank of America, but they weren't bad. They're having a sell here. They've raised their risk in day-to-day trading operations. They've done a few things. The CEO's come out and defended that move. So they've done a couple things, and they've pulled back a little bit today. But Morgan Stanley shouldn't be any type of big surprise unless the numbers are really, really bad. But most likely to be in line or slightly less or slightly more. I mean, they're becoming a lot more transparent. Yeah, SPM. If you want to jump out, Hewlett Packard, you know me, take it, run, and wait for another entrance. Pat yourself on the back. Hey, I made some money today. Pat yourself on the back. Wait for the next entrance. I'm never going to argue taking a gain. And you're never going to lose money by taking a gain, right? Ever. Like, I'll guarantee that. You will not lose money in the market by taking a gain. Okay. Morgan Stanley. Yeah, some pretty big volumes here ahead of the earnings announcement. Probably just a lot of repositioning before the announcement. People deciding they want to get into it. Some people deciding they want to get out of it. Just overall, it's fairly flat, down about 1%. Uh, are they that volatile around earnings? This is one where, let's look. So here's most likely the announcement in July. Again, you can spot these really easy. Look for the quarters of the year. You can even look and see about where it's announcing now. It's about the third weekend, second weekend. So you look around that same time frame in July, October, and then look for the volume spikes. There's your earnings announcements. If you want to if you really want to uh, get it down, then go look at the past announcements and find them. But you'll be right 99% of the time if you can find these volume spikes. Some stocks just don't react much to earnings, but a little gap up here, little gap up there, no big major moves. I mean, this one right here was about 26.5 to 28, so about $1.50. No, I take it back, $1 here. Over here, about 50 cents is all. Okay, so watch the announcement. They're going to be a little bit volatile after the announcements. I want to check in on some other stocks. If you got some more stocks, just type those in there. If I happen to miss one, make sure you type it back. Don't get mad at me because I missed. Johnson & Johnson. Watch it. It's closing below the 7 today. If you're in it, it's a close below the 7. Is it breaking any other type of big support levels? Not really. 94, I'd get more bearish on it if it did break 94. It just changes the upside. It's just saying it's not ready to go higher right at this, today. Another stock we've been watching is Hershey. Nice move today. Pretty much a bullish engulfing pattern. Almost. The only reason it's not is because if you look really, really close at that, where it opened today and where it closed last night is almost the same. I'd give it a bullish engulfing. And the thing I like about bullish engulfings on stocks already in an uptrend, hey, that it's just saying it wants to go higher. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up. I don't know why, but just that. All right. I don't know if anybody watches Duck Dynasty. I'm way off topic here. Anybody watches Duck Dynasty? They got an uncle named Cy, and he's always saying, "Hey, hey, it's like this." And when I said "Hey," it just reminded me of Cy, and it makes me laugh. Sorry, but this is very bullish price. Josh is laughing at me. Very bullish price action where it pushes up here above the resistance level there at 98, and it keeps coming back, and all of a sudden pushes up here on Tuesday of this week. Nice signal. Very nice signal on Hershey, and that's where went on a top 3 right here. A little bit of a pullback, still held the 7 yesterday. Notice that, and still held 98, still held the 7. Yeah, it did go down, and it kind of gets unnerving and seeing you lose some money in your account, right? But was anything broken on that day? No, it wasn't. Still above the 7. If 7's your stop, you got to let it play out. And today, this morning, if you had this, you might have been thinking, oh, geez, it's below the 7. Should I get out? But let it play out, and look what happened. If you were patient today, it played out. Now you got a bullish engulfing pattern on a stock already uptrending, very bullish. It's got 100 written all over it. It's not that far below it right now. What are we at? About 99.40. Got another 60 cents written all over it. But watch it closely. You notice the last time it hit 100, what was the stock doing? Man, you got these rocket ships. And AK was talking about this today. You get these rocket ships like that, it's not quite as strong. You build a foundation on the way back up, it's much stronger move. And you notice this time we're not getting any giant moves, because you look over here, and this is what AK was, I'm sure, was referring to. You get those giant moves like that, the odds of a pullback, a stronger pullback, are high. Okay, versus a nice steady climb into it. There's a good chance it could break 100 and keep going. Doesn't mean it's not going to consolidate around 100 for a little while. It's likely to do that, but the odds of this breaking through it are much higher at this stage rather than over here. Okay, it's in the upper Bollinger Band. The bands aren't that tight, okay, but it's in the upper band. It's got 100. If it gets up there, I couldn't argue taking some gains, but watch it. I wouldn't just write it off because it hits to 100. I wouldn't write it off. But then also, you look at this, a little bit of a downtrend, right? You see what I'm drawing here, head and shoulders, an inverted head and shoulders pattern. The area for it to break would be right through that level, about 97.5, 98. And you can see it broke through it, and that's what we were talking about on Tuesday. Breaks through it, confirms the pattern, retested it yesterday, and today pushing back up off of it. Right there in my book, that locks in 98 as support. It's likely going up here towards 100 and maybe even past it. So it's a nice looking signal. And based on that price pattern right there, sorry, I keep zooming in and out, from the high to the low, $3. So this is saying a break out of the 98 could put up to 101, around the 101 area. Yeah, not a bad looking chart. It almost hit it over here, Again, the odds of it breaking 100 are there. Now, a stock that breaks 100, and if you've been with us for a while, you know the next thing I'm going to say. Jeff says it all the time. Stocks that break 100 and they can hold the level, there's a good shot of them going to 120. Just historically, stocks tend to do that. You can also look at this as in cup with handle, right? See the big cup right there? You lock in a handle up in this area, then we got another chart pattern, a longer term chart pattern in play, and a breakup off that 100 could really push this up quite a bit. So watch it. As far as earnings on them, let me double check. Right now, you really got to double check earnings and triple check, knowing me, January 30th. So they got a little while. So these technicals could play out for a while on Hershey's before the earnings announcement. TWC, they're still in talks as far as it's technically. This is showing us it's not really. Could it drop back in the channel? It could. It's still holding 135. Let me zoom, sorry, so you can see that. The channel has been between 135 and really 132.5. That's the channel. And this is the company that's basically up for grabs. There's three other bidders right now on them, and the names escape me right now of who they are wanting to buy these guys. Some bids have been thrown out. A lot of people think that around the 145 area is where it's likely going to be sold at, 145 per share. But it's not coming through yet. And this is one of those that might, when it happens, if it's up in that area, then yeah, it's likely to go straight there, right? But if it keeps dragging out, or if the talks fail, then you'll see it drop back into the channel. And if they fell altogether, then you'll see it drop quite a bit. But where the talk started was right over in this range. Okay, so they're still going on, and that's one of the reasons, as far as a challenge trade on it on that day, we thought about it. But that's one of the things, if the talks keep going, it just might not go anywhere for a while, and we wanted to move into something that we felt was going to be moving for us right away. That's why we chose our FCX. Okay. Bristol Myers Squibb. So this is, let's look at this, and got a couple things going on it here. So it got a long ways away from the 7, right? Long ways away from the 7, and odds are starting to say as it gets away from the 7, it's going to consolidate back to it, which it did. Now notice it dropped below the 7, and it's holding below the 7. Got about 10 minutes in the day. It's likely to hold below the 7. It just changes the odds a little bit. It's just saying it's not ready to break out. Doesn't mean it's going to crash and burn, right? And it's also, coming back to retest this area around 64, and a little bit of hit a little bit of area, really 53. It's probably a bigger level for it. I'd say 53 really. But if you get a move like this, where you say tomorrow it opens about where it closed tonight, or even a little bit lower, and then it pushes back up over that 7, then you got a nice bullish signal. Today it's not there. If I'm in a trade here, would I be nervous? A little bit. It's below the 7, couldn't make it back up, couldn't make it up to 55. Be a little bit nervous. If 7's your stop, this is one of those, it'd be a tough call. And you get these. It's below the 7, yeah, but it's also, you could say, well, geez, it came to 54 here, and it's pushing up off of it. So what you'd be doing if you wanted to stay in, you'd be risking some money. If you're already in this trade, it's not an entrance here. But you'd be risking some money that it could come back and maybe break this $54 level. Thank you. You'd be risking a little bit more, but you're giving a shot that it might move up on you. So it's just a tough call whether you want to hold it or not. But there's not an entrance here. It's got to push up and over 55 and get above that 7. Yeah. You think about it, it makes sense. I saw an article on this today, and they had these little chocolate squares. Put those in a 3D printer, and I'll eat them all day long. As long as it's milk chocolate, Hershey's milk. Oh yeah, I can't. That's very appetizing to me. Yeah, Richard, making me laugh. Print our own candy bars. Heck yeah, that would be awesome. And you could market them and sell them, right? Yeah, let's go check and look at the market here. SPX going to close down about 3. Just a few minutes left in the day. Bank of America down 10. It's just flat. It's been there all day. And then FCX, it's going to be up about 30 cents. A nice bullish candle there where it was red. It's rallying here into the close, and it's a very good sign for a position here in FCX. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up there, Jimmy. Yeah, not a bad comeback here for Yahoo. Holding that $40 level, a nice entrance would be a push, or nice if you're in the trade long. A nice signal here would be a candle like we saw a couple days ago, right there. Big push up over that area. If you happen to get that above the $40 area, above that, it's off and running. Now their earnings, I'm trying to think. Since I made it a couple days ago, it was on a top three, I believe, earlier on. 28th is earnings. Tradehound, yeah, those dark specials. I'm a milk chocolate guy. I got a mother-in-law that she always buys these dark chocolate things, and that's fine. She loves dark chocolate, and I get that. But I'm like, come on, buy some milk chocolate for your son-in-law. But yeah, and chocolate. What can you say? And my mother-in-law has a little saying, a little plaque on her wall. You've got me talking about this trade hound, so it's your fault. She has a little plaque on her wall that says, "I'd give up chocolate, but I'm not a quitter." So there you go. There's my joke for the day. Google, nice move here on Google. AK, I know you guys and some of you are pushing for this. Had a nice, made a top three over here on this move right here. Strong technical action. It gets above the 7, but goes back to it. Sells off on Monday like everything else, and a big turnaround on Tuesday, pushing above the past price action over here. Today, not a big day. It's up just over 0.5%, but chugging along higher, and that's what you like. Those little small chugs higher. You'll take those. I'll take those all day. Okay, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. Been a pleasure once again to be with everybody. If you have any questions, we'll be on chat for another few minutes with you. Oh, okay. Yeah, Yahoo rumors that they're after AOL. Okay. That's what my mother-in-law tells me, Trade Hound. It's better for me. That's right. So, okay. You're right. All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll be back on tomorrow morning again. And we'll talk to you then. Thanks. Bye bye.